is live and on here, right?
Yes.
Meaning there's no hidden people who are not visible, either by name or by image.
Correct, but we will be on YouTube and Facebook Live. So,
Right.
welcome
And then
everyone.
person.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. I know we have a few people registered for today's event, but we'll go ahead and get started and let the people come in as they will. So thank you for joining us for day 2 of Aging in Place Week 2021. Today we are going to be focusing on the fitness and health side of things. And we have 2 of our great members here. I've gotten to know them both a little bit more. Sue Haviland is a member down in Florida, and she does reverse mortgages, which is how I started my career in the senior world. And she also works with Steph Smart, who is presenting today. So I'm excited to have her share with you. But before we get started, we have another member, David Newman, who is part of our Long Island chapter. He is an orthopedic surgeon and has seen firsthand the benefits of staying active as you age. So I'm going to let David kick off today's session and talk to you a little bit about the importance of staying active. And then Sue will take over, and David will handle all the Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions as we go, please feel free to put them in the chat box. So David, nice to see you again. For those of you who are NAIPC members, he comes to a lot of our events in the virtual networking. So I'm happy to have you moderate this today. So thanks for joining us.
So great to be here, Tara. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the opportunity as always, because NAIPC is embracing the elder care community with some severe force, or some appropriate force, because it's so needed. And as a collaborative corporation, reaching out to communities around the country and providing services that are so needed for the elders, because I don't know about you, but I like seeing my parents still in their own home and trying to stay active as they age and aging in a graceful manner to keep away that pain and keep them as independent as possible, because that's what this week is about, and that's what the NAIPC is about. And it's really what I'm about too, because I'm aging, as we all are, and we have a lot of muscles, bones, and joints that don't always age with us well. So staying active and doing the right things is an important caveat and or practice of life as we age, so we can avoid losing our independence or feeling chronic pain or just suffering from, let's say, a fall or a fracture or something that is not good for them. I always like when I can live a pain-free existence and encourage my parents to do some balance exercises every day, at least 10 minutes, because it's really important, because one fall for someone over the age of 65 can like alter their trajectory and bring about hardship and pain to their family and loved ones around them. And, I'm just glad to be here and happy to be really voicing my call to action, which is, help your elders and loved ones stay as active as possible by doing the right exercise at the right time. And I think the presenter today is somewhere along the lines of fitness. I'm not sure if I've ever met them, but it's Stepwise is the company. And if you are here, I would love to introduce you. I just don't know which one you are.
It is Sue Haviland.
I was thinking it was, but then reverse mortgage and Stepwise didn't seem to go hand in hand. So Sue,
but they do.
I figure you, since you were on first with me, we're here to present. And so what I want to do is just introduce Sue as a reverse mortgage broker, but also an advocate of the Stepwise solution to aging gracefully.
Thank you very much, David. And it's a pleasure to be here during Aging in Place Week. This is so important. And David, I thank you for those comments. We are all about helping folks age in place in their own homes and remain independent. And even as you said, just one fall can make so much difference. So it's so important. We hope that you'll get some takeaways. Some of you may have seen this presentation before. And we do these in Southwest Florida where we're based. We do these live in person when we can, and we're getting back to that. But so for today, we'll do the presentation in this way. We welcome your questions, and I'll also give you our website address at the end of the presentation. We have lots of resources on that website, so you're welcome to check that out as well. And let me share my screen and we will get going with the presentation. Can you see that? Can everyone see that?
Yes, we're good.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I am going to go off camera here, and I apologize. Let me get this. Oh, I don't know where my presentation went. There, can you see the presentation now?
Negative.
Nope, just a black screen.
So the good old processes of Zoom.
Yes.
So what I usually do, yeah, you stop sharing,
I will
open up your presentation on your computer, and then start sharing, and sometimes it'll.
There we go. I just
sync
found
up.
it again. There we go. Success?
Okay,
Success.
yes, I'm liking that. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, everyone, and welcome to this presentation. We are Step Smart, and we are saving lives and preserving independence. My name is Sue Haviland, and I am the president of Step Smart. And once again, I welcome you to this presentation, and I welcome your questions at the end. And who are we? We are local volunteers and health professionals in cooperation with Lee Health Trauma Center. And David, that's where you got Stepwise Lee. We are now combined with Stepwise Lee, and we are a group who is concerned about falls among older adults. Our mission is educating older adults and their caregivers and families on the methods and techniques available to reduce accidental falls, specifically in Southwest Florida, but we do share this information in other areas as well. When we do our presentations in person, when we have our events in person, we also offer balance testing, and we have some supporting partners who will join us at those times. And you see some of those supporting partners there on the screen. And why do we even discuss falls? You heard David mention that just one fall can truly be devastating. Why do we discuss falls at all? Falls are the most common, serious, and devastating problem faced by the older population. And we're going to share with you some numbers, not to scare you, but we want to show how significant the problem of falls can be in the older population. Knowledge is power, and the more you know, the more you can make good decisions. And why should you care? 1 out of 4 seniors falls each year. 20% of those falls result in moderate to serious injury. 50% of those hospitalized due to a fall will die within the year. And falls are the leading cause of death from injury for seniors. Here you see a chart that graphs the national rate of mortal falls. We see that women fall more often than men, but men will die from falls more frequently. And in general, the number of older adults dying from falls has been steadily increasing. And even more importantly, the death rate has more than doubled since the year 2000. Now, here are some statistics on accidental deaths. And my takeaway from this particular slide is that when we look at accidental deaths, falls are number 2, only behind drug poisoning. And of course, we've had the opioid crisis in recent years that we've been dealing with. But right behind that, and you look it's nearly in a tie with motor vehicle and traffic incidents. So falling is a significant issue. And most people are surprised to learn that falls are even more deadly than motor vehicle crashes. In 2019, there were about 3.1 million fall-related, non-fatal ER visits for adults over the age of 65. Now, keep in mind, these are the falls that are reported because it resulted in an ER visit. Doesn't include things like a lift assist call when someone maybe calls the fire department or some other local resource to help do a lift assist, or the calls that don't even get reported. Now, this is a statistics. These statistics are specific to Florida, but take a look at this. A 4-day stay for a fall-related injury in the state of Florida is an average of over $61,000. That's well over $15,000 a day. Now, we know that we're here to talk about aging in place, but just as you heard David say, just one fall. So just one fall and all the great aging in place plans that people had, well, you know, they could be kind of out the window. 57% of people who are after a fall are discharged to a nursing facility, and only 11% return home. So once again, your aging in place plan could be gone. So what we need to do is we need to know how to prevent falls to stay as independent as long as possible. Where do falls happen? 60% of the time, the falls happen in the home. Home can be a very dangerous place, and we're going to help you with some information that may just make your home a little bit safer. And they're easy things to do, but we'll talk about that in just a bit. 30% of the time, falls happen in public places. Think of like a restaurant or a bar or a parking lot. So that would be considered a public place. 10% of the time, they happen in a healthcare institution, such as a hospital or a nursing home, etc. But it's that 60% that we need to focus on, because if a fall is going to happen, it's likely to happen in the home. Now, the good news is that falls are preventable, and falls are not a normal part of aging. And there are steps that you can take to minimize your risk of falling. And if anyone, once again, you can take a look at our website at stepsmart.org. I encourage you to follow us on social media for some fall prevention tips, but falls are preventable. It's a sign of something else that's going on. So don't let anyone tell you that because you're turning a certain age, you're just going to fall, because that's simply not the case. If you're falling, there's a reason. So let's try to figure out what that reason might be and take action to change it. Here are some interacting risk factors for falls. Sometimes all the different reasons that falls can be, that can cause falls, it can just be overwhelming. There's so many of them. But if we look at 3 categories of risk that we address, then we can take some action to try to keep our loved ones from falling. Physical risk factors that affect your body could include things such as Parkinson's, macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, blood pressure issues, etc. Behavioral factors, overestimating abilities, self-medication, not listening to doctors, not using that cane or walker. I tell my mother all the time, the cane doesn't do you any good if it's in the car. Risky behavior. And research has shown that when accidents happen, there are 4 identifiable circumstances at play: fatigue, frustration, rush, or complacency. You know, we're just kind of on autopilot going through and, you know, doing our thing, and we're not really paying attention to the area around us. So be aware of your surroundings. Environmental factors, risks from outside your body and mind, throw rugs, slippery floors, poor lighting. We're going to talk a lot about these types of things, and poor footwear. If you can control these items, you could greatly reduce your risk of falling. So we're going to be aware of our risk factors. And if you notice down the left side of the screen, this spells out avoid falls. So awareness of our risk factors is number 1. Vision and hearing, this is really important. The American Ophthalmological Society suggests that everyone by age 40 get an annual dilated vision exam. How many of us out here listening to that can say that we do this? Not just an eyeglass prescription check, but a dilated exam, checking for glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, cataracts. The sooner you can identify these issues, the quicker that medication could be used if necessary, and the more effective that medication would be. Getting your hearing checked regularly also helps with balance, brain activity, and even relationships. You're not always saying, what, right? So get a baseline hearing screening as early as possible, and suggest that to your family members. If they haven't had a hearing and vision screening in a while, that would be something that they should definitely look at. Other medical conditions. There are some physical conditions that might predispose someone to fall more frequently than the general population. There are certain health conditions that we need to be aware of. So let's see what these might be, and how they might tend to increase someone's risk of falls. Stroke. After a stroke, one side of the body is weaker than the other. The individual may regain strength and vision, but one side may still be weaker than the other, and that could possibly cause a fall. So be aware that someone who's had a stroke may have an increased chance of falling. Blood pressure. Now, most people immediately think of high blood pressure, but low blood pressure is just as bad, and it can also cause dizziness, confusion, and nausea just as much as high blood pressure. Neuropathy. What is neuropathy? Signals from the spinal cord are not getting to the extremities. So, think of someone who's maybe not sure where their limbs are in space. Dementia. People with progressive dementias, such as Alzheimer's is just one example, eventually may not know how to use a chair or a bed, and they may become confused and fall. Someone with Parkinson's may fall frequently. There are resting tremors. They could be very stiff and rigid, and they could even shuffle when they walk. And because of that, they tend to fall. You may have seen someone who does kind of shuffle when they walk instead of picking their feet up, and that is certainly a fall risk. Inner ear disorders, a link between your inner ear and your brain, helps you keep your balance when you get out of bed or walk over a rough road. Think about that. Issues with this could lead to a fall. So just think about that. Think about how when you're walking over rough ground, you have to kind of balance yourself out. Let's talk about imbalance. After a fall, people are scared. We saw the numbers at the beginning of the presentation. So what's the immediate thought? Well, guess what? I can't fall, so I'm just gonna stay on the couch and not do anything. That way I won't fall. Well, that's certainly not a good answer, because then the person loses strength, muscle tone, skills, and that could actually cause a fall. So don't stay on the couch, get active. As you heard David say in the beginning, do exercises as are appropriate. You don't need to be a balance expert to identify imbalance. Standing with your feet wide apart when you try to move around the room, needing to lean on something to stay balanced. Yeah, I had to have that conversation with my mother. Everybody in my presentations always knows I talk about my mom. Going from one piece of furniture to another to walk. Two ladies arm in arm. These are all possible signs of imbalance. And you know what? Most people know when their balance is off. For example, if they know they have to grip the furniture or they have to hang on to the wall at night to walk to the bathroom. If you see someone doing these things, you may want to say something to them. You know, it looks like you're having a little bit of trouble with your balance. Have you spoken to your doctor about this? Even though it may be a difficult conversation to have, it's a heck of a lot better than visiting them in the hospital for a 4-day stay of over $61,000, right? And once again, most people know when their balance is deteriorating, but they don't see it as a threat. They're not sure. Maybe they don't realize that this could potentially lead to a fall. If you're worried about your balance, or for that of a family member, get the screening test. Now, as I said in the beginning, when we do these presentations live in person, we do them where we bring balance machines, and we can actually do a balance assessment for someone, and we offer them a printout that they can then take to their physician and review it with their physician, and their doctor may even decide that they need to prescribe a full balance evaluation by a physical therapist. So that is just part of what we offer when we do these presentations in person. But if you know someone who's having balance issues, ask them to bring this up to their doctor and see if they might need to have this evaluated. Now, once again, on our website, you can see a questionnaire that you could actually complete to see if you might be a fall risk, if you have any risk factors or any concerns for being a fall risk. Medications. Medications are a significant issue. The side effects of medications can be significant. And as we all know, all medications have some side effects. And it doesn't mean that every single person is going to experience every single side effect. Of course not. But you need to be aware of them. And if there are side effects, it could increase your chance of falling. Some of the mood-changing medications could have side effects that include sleepiness, and you may know some of the brand names, you know, Ativan, Valium, Zoloft, et cetera, can cause sleepiness or dizziness. And remember, we mentioned high blood pressure and low blood pressure being an issue. So here's something to think about. Cardiovascular medications can have potential side effects of fainting or dizziness upon standing. Once again, we're not trying to scare you. We just want you to be aware of these potential side effects. Other medications can also have side effects. Even over-the-counter medications like Benadryl can cause sleepiness. So it's not just prescription medications. Be aware of the over-the-counter medications and maybe even supplements and vitamins that you take. Obviously, if you're a diabetic, if someone in your family is a diabetic, you have to watch your insulin levels to avoid dizziness as well. And here's one that I love. Whenever we do these presentations live in an event, in an in-person event, we always ask this. How many people in the room have a list somewhere with their medications? And, some hands will go up, and that's great. And then we ask, how many have them with them right now? And the hands go down. Always keep a list of your medications with you and take it to every doctor visit, every single doctor. Take the medication with you and keep it current. When your physician changes your medications or the dosages, make that change in your medication list. You or your doctor should never have to guess what medications that you're taking or the dosage. I also suggest that you get to know your pharmacist. If you can, pick one pharmacy that you would prefer to deal with. I've heard it suggested maybe you prefer to deal with the one where your most expensive medication has the lowest cost, but whatever you choose, try to deal with one pharmacy if at all possible. Get to know the pharmacist. They are the experts in medication, and they'll be able to help you steer clear of some side effects if possible. That way you're not using multiple pharmacies and having things getting mixed up and perhaps any conflicts. And that, once again, the one pharmacist will be familiar with the medications that you are taking, and they're trained to identify some of these conflicts in different medications and side effects, and they can advise you on that. And for any medication, you should have this on your list. Make sure you ask, when do I take it? How much do I take? How often do I take this medication? How long will I be on this medication? Is this something that's long-term? Is it only for a short time? What are the expectations? How long am I going to be taking this? And what should I do and what should I not do? Some medicines you need to take on a full stomach, some empty, some with milk, some no citrus. So pay attention to these instructions, and the better you're able to take these medications, hopefully the less side effects that you would have, and hopefully you can prevent a fall. If people that generally are on 4 or more medications per day, that could be a potential red flag, and we need to pay attention to it and make sure that they have all of this information for their medications. Here's another one that I love, footwear. And especially where I am here in Southwest Florida, we live in a flip-flop world, right? And in many falls seen in the emergency rooms, poor footwear is a significant contributing factor. Now, these are some pretty rough looking shoes. They've been obviously used beyond when they should have been discarded. But what are some examples of footwear that you might want to avoid? Flip-flops, right? Whatever goes on easy comes off easy. And it can even fall off when you don't expect them to. So be cautious about that. Be wary of shoes that don't provide support. High heels. I know, ladies, we're all guilty. High heels, we love them. You can easily twist an ankle, or they could even catch. Have you ever done this? I know I've done this before. You're walking along and the heel just catches on something, whether it's something in the floor or out on the sidewalk, something. Loafers and slippers. Anything with a slick bottom could be slippery. Boots. Heavier does not mean better. They could actually make they could actually tire you out if they're heavy. It causes fatigue, and then that in and of itself is a tripping hazard. So be wary of that. Select proper footwear and proper fitting footwear for yourself. Now, here are some features. I'm not suggesting everybody has to run out and buy a shoe that looks just like this, but here are some features that you might want to look for in a good shoe. This is a good foundation. If you can find a shoe with as many of these features as possible, you're on your way. Now, people will say, whenever we do these presentations in a live setting, in an in-person setting, people say, well, I have sneakers, I'm good. But if you go, have you been sneaker shopping? There's a sneaker for every activity. So just keep in mind, some of these items. You want a good fastening mechanism, something that's lightweight, slip resistant, and treaded outer sole. See how that's pointing to that there on the outside? A low heel height, a supported heel collar, and then see the heel collar on the back, see how high that goes up? That keeps the shoe in place, and a smooth, seam-free interior so it doesn't become uncomfortable. Assistive devices, and I apologize, you can't see that word on there. This is not configured properly. Assistive devices and technology. We could do a presentation, we could do an entire presentation just on technology because it's advancing so quickly, and that's wonderful. But assistive devices are considered things like canes and walkers. And you heard me say, I tell my mom all the time, Mom, cane doesn't do you any good if it is sitting in the car. So 3 things need to happen for an assistive device to work. You have to use it. Don't leave it in the closet. Don't leave it in the car. If you need to use it, use it. It must be fitted to you, particularly in the case of a walker. Have you ever seen someone who's using a walker and it looks more like they're supporting the walker than the walker supporting them? Make sure that it comfortably fits and that the person can use it properly. You should be able to walk into the walker, not dragging it way out in front of you or having it kind of get hung up. It should be easy to use, and you should be able to walk into it. And have the person be shown how to use it properly. People have a misconception of what a cane or walker is today, and there's all kinds of features. Gosh, you can get walkers with seats and brakes, and they even have storage and a cup holder. So don't let the fact that you're thinking about what a walker or a cane used to be interfere with the fact that a family member or a loved one might need to use it. Encourage them to use it if necessary. And assistive technology, you see some of the pictures here on the screen. There are all kinds of technology pieces that are available today, and things that can be connected to your home. You can have them so that they are connected to other family members, so that if there's an incident, the other family member can be contacted right away. So lots and lots of technology that's available to help prevent falls. And living spaces and environment. Remember, we said that 60% of the falls occur in the home. And I'm sure you can all think of things that could cause a fall in the home. You see some things here that we talk about. Lighting is crucial. Lighting, if you have one easy takeaway from this presentation, lighting is crucial. You should never have to cross a dark room to turn on a light. We also, on our website at stepsmart.org, we also have a home safety checklist. I encourage you to take a look at that and see if there are some simple things. Once again, simple and inexpensive things are what we recommend that you can do around the home. So you see things here, you see the grab bars, the lighting, you see Alexa and the screen, and there's those scatter rugs. Those scatter rugs got to go. They are absolutely a tripping hazard. And you know, one thing that people don't often think about, and I'd like to mention, is that pets can be a tripping hazard as well, and they can cause someone to fall. So it's all about being mindful of our environment, of what's going on around us, even and especially in our own home. Can anyone on this call today take a guess at what the most dangerous room is in the home? That is correct for those of you who said the bathroom. The bathroom is the most dangerous room in the home. Every surface, think about this, every surface in the bathroom is hard and it is unforgiving if you slip and fall. Anytime you have liquid on a hard surface, that really increases the risk of someone falling. Now let's talk for a second about grab bars. You see some of the components here highlighted on this slide. Grab bars should be installed by a professional, not the kind that are on there that are held on there with just a suction cup, because what happens, the suction cup is going to give way when it's needed, and that does not help at all. So a professionally installed grab bar. Handheld shower, non-slip bath mat, non-slip, absolutely. If needed, a shower or bath chair, and either a commode or raised toilet seat. These can also be of assistance. Minimize clutter, particularly in the bathroom, everywhere around the house, of course, but particularly in the bathroom, minimize clutter. And look at the handrails. Now we've shown here handrails going on both sides of the stairs. And the next most common place that people are going to fall, of course, is on a staircase. And people actually worry about falling on stairs. If they've fallen before, they could be very leery and very nervous about going up and down the stairs. And think about this. When you've fallen, if you've ever fallen on a staircase, more than likely you fell at either the very first step or the very last step. Rarely do we fall in the middle of a staircase, because at that point you kind of got your rhythm going. So if anyone's concerned with falling on stairs, pay particular attention to the very first and the very last step, because it's likely that that's where something's going to happen. You'll notice here on the slide that we have those little lights, just some little stick-on lights that can go on the stairs. And also consider putting tape on the first and last step, just maybe some kind of reflective or bright colored tape, just to draw the person's attention to, okay, now it's time to pay attention because we're getting ready to go up or down the stairs. In addition, you want to have a light switch at the top and the bottom of your indoor stairways. Once again, we don't want to have a dark staircase. In addition, step stools. Let's talk about step stools. They can be dangerous. If you need to use one, make sure to select one that's sturdy, with wide steps, and that has an extended handrail. Look for those features if you're purchasing a step stool. If you're in the store, ask an associate for help in identifying a step stool with wide steps and an extended handrail that will be sturdy enough for you. Physical activity. You heard David talk about this before, and this is so important. You don't need to train for a marathon to reduce your risk of falling. You need to get out of a sedentary lifestyle. Of course, you're going to speak with your physician first before you begin any type of activity, but try to get out of that sedentary lifestyle. And you know what? People think of exercise and they'll say, well, I don't have a gym near me, or I don't have this. It doesn't matter. Exercise does not have to be an organized sport. It can be walking, dancing, gardening, even housework. Does anyone know on this call today what is a really, really good, one of the top proven group exercise activities to reduce fall risk? It's Tai Chi. So if you're thinking about signing up for or registering for some type of an exercise activity, think about Tai Chi. But any regular activity can go a long way. Like I said, just walking, dancing, gardening, housework, anything that you can do to increase that level of activity. And of course, we want to start today. The final thing we need to remember is safety. Go home today, look around your house. Remember, we talked about the home safety checklist. What can I rearrange? Maybe I need to move some furniture around or get rid of those scatter rugs to make my home safer and easier to navigate. So think about that. Look at our website and take away a couple of tips that you can take home with you today or for a family member. We talked about the annual physical exam, vision and hearing screenings, review those medications, use our home safety checklist, have your blood pressure checked regularly, commit to more activity, even if you're starting slowly, that's okay. And please consult with your physician before you do that. And think about getting a balance screening or a full balance evaluation if needed. So if someone falls, what do we need to do if someone has fallen? If it's you, do a self-assessment of your injuries. If you can safely do so, excuse me, crawl to a piece of furniture, call 911, keep your phone within reach. I tell this to my mom all the time too. Mom, your phone doesn't do any good if it's in the other room. Kind of keep it handy. If you don't have a phone, yell loudly for help. And of course, we talked about the technology. If you have some type of an emergency notification device available, certainly use that. I also encourage you to learn about your community. Some communities have set different procedures that you may be able to call and ask for a lift assist instead of having, an actual emergency. Excuse me. So find out what is available in your community for someone who has fallen. They might not necessarily need a transport to the hospital, but perhaps a lift assist will be helpful. And once again, as we've said, falls can be a serious problem, but falls are not inevitable. So start today and think about something that you can do to help yourself or a loved one or family member or a friend not be so susceptible to falling. What can you help them do? Is it something simple around their home? Is it suggesting that they perhaps get a balance evaluation or something else? You can do something about it today and take action. Just take one or two things away from this presentation and help either yourself or someone that you know. And thank you very much for your time today. You see our website there on the screen. And we also on our website, we have an ebook that the executive director, Stephanie Gomez, and I put together, which also has some helpful information. So once again, thank you everyone for your kind attention today.
Well, thank you, Sue. Thanks for that presentation. I saw that we do have one question that popped up in the chat box from Thomas. If there are any other questions, please feel free to pop them in. Most of the medical evaluation and PPE are covered by insurance Medicare. What does it take for home safety renovations to be covered by insurance?
I thought I was doing the Q&A, young lady.
I was, but I thought you disappeared from my screen. What? Sorry, there you are again.
There's David.
I will mute.
I've been here the whole time, but you did hear the question, Sue, and so hopefully you can add some light to the question or some answer.
So the question was about these things being covered by insurance. I am not an insurance specialist, so I would have them talk to their insurance company.
Okay, I can actually answer a little bit of that question from my husband and I do outpatient physical therapy here in Orange County, aside from the National Aging in Place Council. So you'll have to talk to your doctor about that. But if there's been a recent fall and your primary care physician writes a prescription for it, it could be covered from Medicare. You'll just have to find a PT that will go to your home. We're outpatient delivered to the home. So that's kind of what we do. So it depends on your area and your doctor and the situation, I think. Unless there's any Medicare specialists on there, David.
No, so Tara, am I hearing that you guys can do home renovation and get paid for it by Medicare?
Not home renovations, we do the safety assessment. the safety
Oh,
evaluation and
safety
assessment
eval.
after
Okay.
a recent fall. Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
I thought Thomas's question was maybe towards, can the renovations be covered by insurance if it's been shown to reduce falls? I think that's like a policy change on the government level that needs to occur if they think that if the data holds true that home is where the falls happen and the home being not safe leads to the falls. Well, then if you can renovate the homes on someone else's dime, you might be able to save money on the healthcare system and save the trauma and the pain of a fall. Makes a lot of sense, Thomas. I just don't know those right steps in that process. Is probably trying to get a bill, brought up with your local government.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're doing that, and I think it's Massachusetts. I wish Ryan were on the call today. Marianne is a new member of our Massachusetts chapter. Hi, Marianne. But he was mentioning that there was some kind of local legislature that was going through to help seniors there, fall prevention, and they were going to use state funds to do the renovation. So
yeah, that's good. I think it should almost be state, federally oversighted, state paid kind of thing. Sue, was awesome amount of information, and it's hard to lead a talk when it comes to falls without having a little data to give and to lead with the facts and the fear. But something like your company, is it Step Smart or Step Wise?
It's Step Smart.
Okay. The Step Smart is a company that people can relate to and then reframe their thinking and repeat these new subtle changes in their lifestyle to make a difference. So hopefully that's part of the message here at Step Smart, is that you guys have a relatable product and an offering that overcomes the fear of the 70% and the X, Y, and Z, and they never go home again. And it's like that's very fearful stuff, and you don't want that. But no. I think you're really onto something smart, and Southwest Florida has, taken this elder care burden by the horns and has laid out a multifaceted, stepwise approach towards keeping people independent. So right on. So good job.
Thank you. Thank you. That is our goal. And as we do these presentations, we get people will come up to us and say, they like that we give practical, easy to do solutions. We're not trying to cause some big undue financial burden. That's not our goal. Just easy to do practical solutions. That's what it's all about for us.
Yeah, seems like it. Awesome.
There was something that you said, David, on another webinar in the past that Sue kind of alluded to today, that exercises that are appropriate for me aren't appropriate for my 80-year-old mother-in-law. So your exercise is dependent on you. Your definition of exercise is specific. It doesn't have to be playing football or whatever.
Yeah. It shouldn't be a fearful term. It should be a relatable term where you as an individual can relate to it. And balance plays such a big role that there's so many different balance activities that can be done safely in the comfort of your own home. As long as you have some guidance, you have your resources, and you're motivated to do it. Because without doing it, you run the risk of having that traumatic fall, not to throw some fear at you, but the traumatic fall to change the trajectory of your life. And I think you're much happier when you haven't fallen, or you have as little pain as possible as you live. So that's, to me at least, and I'm in the exercise, wellness, and understanding sector of life as we age. And I think there are things that even if you're hanging out in a chair, you can do some exercise.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. If it's whatever's appropriate for you, as Tara just said.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, Sue, I know that you had that address up on the final screen, but do you want to put it in the chat box real quick? Sure. Your website, and if anyone else has any questions, we can certainly pass them along to Sue or David at a later date. But thank you for joining us. If no one else has questions, we'll go ahead and end it here. everyone will be getting a email in a few hours with the link. So Thomas, you'll definitely be getting a copy of that, and it'll be up on our NAIPC-TV channel. And we have another event tomorrow is Senior Medicare Patrol, talking about frauds and scams in a post-pandemic world. And Thursday, we have the Atlanta chapter talking about what is aging in place. That'll be more focused on seniors. And Friday is our closing presentation with Comfort Care's head music therapist, Steve Toll. He's created our own special playlist, which you'll see out on LinkedIn soon and YouTube. And it'll be he wants to share how to connect with seniors through music. Which is a great presentation and a hot topic I've seen come up lately is music therapy. So hope to see you all at some of those future events. And thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Always great to see you.
Thank you,
Great
David.
job.
Thank you.
All right.
David.
Take care.